guys, it's Jessica Nicole Dickerson, aka JND, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a recent reads. So I'm going to go over all the books that I read during the reading rush because I didn't get a chance to really wrap it up, and all the books that I also read in July and June, which weren't too many books, but I still have read a decent amount of books that I need to tell you guys about because I have so many thoughts and so many opinions that I know you're going to want to hear. So yeah, let's get into it. So first off, starting with the books that I did read during the reading rush, I'm going to go over really quickly the 2 books that I DNF'd just because I put in the effort into reading them and it just kind of fell through. So I definitely want to mention them. Let's go to Goodreads. The first book I DNF'd was Saving Savannah by Tanya Bolden, I think was her name. I personally just, besides the fact that I've been in kind of a reading slump for a bit, I've read 30% of this book, and I wrote a NetGalley review on why I DNF'd it. But personally, this story is about a wealthy black girl who is living through the she's living in 1919. So the Spanish flu has just ended, World War II has come to an end, or they're starting to come to an end, and what else is that? Oh, and the suffragette movement is going on. So she's an affluent African American girl, and she's not passing to my knowledge. But the problem I had with this book was that there really was no plot. This girl was complaining about how she didn't like her life, but at the same time, she really didn't give us any justification. She was just being mean to her friends and stuff, and it seemed that her only reason for hating life was that she had a lot of privilege, and she hated that she had that privilege when other people didn't have that same privilege. She complained about having food and wearing fancy dresses and having to go to parties. And I get that being a teen, you don't want to do all those things, but because she's such a well-educated person, she knows about the war, she wants to get a job, she wants to give back. To complain about the material items in your life just didn't seem to balance the fact that she was a well-educated woman who wanted to go to college, but then hated the fact that, she had to live her life. It was just weird. She complained a lot, and her family members were trying to get her to understand, hey, you should recognize your privilege and be happy you're not being slaughtered, or because lynching was a huge thing at the time, and she's kind of yeah, I know, but at the same time she doesn't know that that privilege affords her, besides her life, allows her to have her education, and she complains a lot, and it was just really unbearable. And at that point, 30% of the way in, I have no idea why I'm reading this book. I didn't understand. It was supposed to be kind of a love story where she falls in love with someone who is poor, and then she starts to understand and yada yada. 30% of the way through, don't even know who the dude is that she likes at that point, and she was just trying to get a job, and her parents were no, you can't get a job, it's not safe, yada yada. It was just really annoying because it was constant complaining, and I just had really little justification in my eyes. So I decided life's too short to be reading books that don't interest me, so I DNF'd her. And the next one I DNF'd was this manga series that was available for download on NetGalley. Without request, you could just download it. The hardest book to download by far so far in my NetGalley experience, and the most homophobic ever. Basically, I read about 3 chapters of this. I got halfway through the book because it was only about 5 chapters long. Mangas aren't really that long, and this guy is hating on this other guy because he thinks he's gay, and he's I don't like you. You're looking at my friend in a weird way. I don't like you. I don't want to associate with you. Oh, what else? He just said a lot of mean things. He was thinking in his head about how he was going to kick this dude's ass if he looked at his friend the wrong way or wanted to touch his friend without permission. And randomly one day, this guy has to actually go to a study group with this supposedly gay guy, and they have the most basic of conversations, and this guy leaves and he's he's not what I expect, he's not, wow. And I think it's gonna be an internalized hate situation where he's gay and he actually likes the guy, and that's why he's so mad at him. That's what I was guessing from this. Let me know if you read this book down below. But it was just horrific and so homophobic. It just didn't make sense to me how he flipped so quick from hating this guy, not wanting to associate with him, with wanting to be his friend, and and then there's no plot. Why are we listening to this guy, his internal monologue that makes no sense? So yeah, DNF'd it because it was just not going anywhere. I was listening to this guy, this protagonist, and I'm what's your plan? why are we listening to you? Being rude 1 minute to this guy and then being nice to him. So the opposite of what I wanted from this manga. Those are 2 books that I DNF'd. I also read like 70% of Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend. Chef's Kiss, such a good middle grade. If you have not read Nevermore yet, definitely check it out. I've heard it's like the Harry Potter equivalent, but it's about a girl going to, or like she was destined to be cursed and killed on her 11th birthday, but she ends up being whisked away to a magical world called Nevermore and trying to join this Wonder Society. So Wondersmith is the sequel, and it's just so fun. I love it. Everyone should read it. It's just so enjoyable. Okay, the next book I managed to finish during the reading rush was You Should See Me in a Crown. And by the way, if you haven't watched all my reading rush vlogs, you definitely should, because it was so much fun. Some days were like low, but other days were high. Some days I read 2 books and, you know, I was feeling it. But yes, I read You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson, which is a great debut, like a novel from an author. Basically, this story is about a girl who isn't your, you know, typical beautiful girl. She's like lanky and has big hair and she's kind of nerdy. She plays in the orchestra. I think she's a band leader too. But basically she wants to go to her dream school, which has this great music program, and eventually I think she wants to be, what is it, a doctor? She wants to go to a certain dream school, and she gets into the dream school, but she doesn't have enough money to be able to afford it. But in this weird school, if you are like crowned prom queen, you actually get like a $10,000 scholarship, which is unheard of in my opinion. But yeah, so she runs for prom queen, and it's this really kind of wonderful story about this girl coming into her own confidence and stuff. I did mention it in my vlog, and a lot of people agreed with me. The concept of a dream college and not being able to go to your dream college is interesting to me, because I feel like that isn't the message we should share with people. Is that, because, you know, I've transferred colleges. I know lots of people transfer colleges. A lot of people don't go to college. Like, you may have this dream school set in your mind that this is the perfect school, you need to go to this school or else like your life's over, but that's not the case. Go watch the vlog if you don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that concept to me, and there's a lot of pressure because it was the alma mater of her past mother. Her mother did pass away, so it's just a lot of pressure on her to be this perfect person. And like, I'm pretty sure you can get scholarships in other ways that take less effort. But besides that, because that was my problem with the reality of the world, I was like not believing it. I'm like, girl, you could do different things, you don't need to do this craziness. But I love the romance in this. The 2 characters, besides the fact that it's a lesbian cute couple, like, love that. And that there was actually like a male friend that supported her in that and didn't like question her relationship and all that craziness that normally happens. Like, her relationship with Mac in this book is the one reason why it was so enjoyable and so fun. I kind of wish we got more of those kind of precious moments between those 2. But yeah, quite an enjoyable book. And then after that, or before that, I read The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. I also gave this 4 stars. This is just a coming of age story. We grow up with this guy since like since he was 6 to like him going to university. And it's basically, it kind of almost felt like a lot of short stories of his life, little moments, and that all accumulated to his decision to do drag in college and really just be himself and be proud and not have to hide who he is or feel bad for being different. Very interesting. I did feel that because the story was so piecemeal, we would skip years of his life and just get little anecdotes that were really short and to the point and not really like giving us a journey, less of a story. That's why I knocked it down a star. But I also heard a lot of people talk about the fact that this book is about the Black queer experience, that this book is not about informing you about the experience, but just telling you, like, you shouldn't, like, this is what happened, this is my life, this is how I came to understand who I am and learn to love it. And I totally respect that. But I definitely feel like the writing style for me just wasn't at its peak, because I couldn't emotionally connect because of all that jumping back and forth through time. Like, literally years would go by every so often, and I was just trying to follow along. So I feel like I didn't emotionally connect with the character, but still 4 stars, still such an interesting book, and it still brought up a lot of great points that I really loved about sexuality and things like that, and the Black experience, being judged for your hair. It made a lot of great points, and being mixed. So yeah, really enjoyable, and such a gorgeous book. And then I also read I Want to Be Where You Are by Christina Forrest. This was a 5-star read. Oh my god. I think this was the only 5-star read of the Reading Rush, possibly? I don't know. It was so good. Basically about a girl who wants to be a ballerina, and she goes off to an audition, but while she's trying to go and kind of sneak away to this audition, the boy next door ends up interrupting and trying to join her in her journey, and it's just a fun travel story. If you like the arts, you'll definitely like this book. It talks a lot about taking risk and believing in yourself, and also a reconciliation between friendships and parents and chasing your dreams and all that fun stuff that I feel like this book would have been so amazing to read during high school when I was thinking about life and my future, and if I wanted to take those crazy risks. I don't recommend going on a road trip without your parents' permission. That sounds bad, but it still brought up a lot of great conversations, and I wish I picked this book up sooner, and I really look forward to Christina Forrest's new book too. It was really good. What a crazy ride. Oh my god. Another book I managed to read during the Reading Rush was We Should All Be Feminist, which is just I think this is a recording or written record of the TED Talk. This was awesome. The only reason why I gave this a 4-star and not a 5-star is that I feel like the way she talks about gender is definitely very much male-female, and I feel like there's more room and the wiggle room, but she does mention in here that she's like, our idea of gender needs to evolve and continue to evolve. But I really like the points about how she talks about we need to be educating our boys and girls the same, that when we look at women and tell them to fix themselves, and you can't wear that, and you can't behave like this or else you'll lose the man, or you have to strive to marry a man but not make more than the man, all that craziness is so interesting because our media really does represent women in that way, whereas men are represented different in media, that they have to be masculine, super overly masculine. They can't, you know, express themselves and their feelings. And it was very interesting. I watched a YouTube video about women, and when they say hi to each other, they ask you like, how are you doing, and they ask you a lot of questions and stuff, whereas when men say hi to each other, it's like a hi, and that's it. So it's interesting because there's like that point of view that men are taught to keep to themselves, that sharing their feelings aren't good, and that we need to start teaching kids the same life lessons, you know? Don't be teaching one that you need to be this way or else you're not good enough, and teaching the girls in the group that they need to be like this. So it brought up a lot of interesting points. I think everyone should skim through this like every year. A nice little refresher about, you know, gender rules are just rules we put on ourselves, and that the culture needs to change and the mindset needs to change, and how we can actively try to change every so often to progress. Please, thank you. And then the first thing that I got to read during the Reading Rush was There Are Things I Can't Tell You, which is the Smitty Manga. So a lot of people saw that vlog. It was the first day, and I don't know how that happened, but I ended up reading a cute little Smitty Manga, and this is the kind of manga I expected. That first one that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, fun, lighthearted, accepting your sexuality. It's not that lighthearted. There was some homophobia in the book, so trigger warning for that. But it's a story about two guys who love each other, and they grew up at the same middle school and high school together, and they rekindle their friendship afterwards. But basically, it's learning to accept that you do deserve love, and that, you know, being gay is okay, and that there's nothing wrong with that. And it was just, the way the story was illustrated was so cute, and uplifting and hopeful. There was a little schmunniness too that was cute, that was okay, you know. I wasn't expecting it though, which is the funny part about the vlog. So yeah, make sure you go check out all my Reading Rush vlogs to see all the books that I read. Those are all the books I read for the Reading Rush, and quickly to go over some other books that I read. I'm filming this towards the end of July, so I'm hoping to squeeze some more books in before the end of the month, but we'll see. I still have to read my Brown Girl Book Club pick very soon. If you don't know, the August book pick is Cinderella Is Not Dead, so join us for our August month read if you haven't already. And early July, I did manage to read one other book, and it is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. And stay tuned, I am having a reading vlog all about this book, and it is a 5-star prediction reading vlog, a new series I'm starting on my channel. So make sure you subscribe and like this video if you like it, and stay tuned for that reading vlog. It's gonna be real fun. My opinions about this book were quite interesting. Was it the 5-star I thought? Guess you're gonna have to find out. But this is interesting because it's about a acting troupe, a Shakespearean acting troupe, where one member goes and gets killed. We don't know who the killer is, and we find out who done it. So it's really cool, especially as someone who's been in a theater person, who's been in some Shakespeare plays. Like, super interesting. I just love the concept. I did it. So those are all the books I recently read. Gosh, I'm tired. That took a lot of energy and my throat is sore. I feel like this video isn't even that long. Wow, I'm just special in that way. But yeah, make sure you like this video if you liked it, and give it a big old thumbs up and stuff, and subscribe and do all that YouTube stuff. And I hope, you know, this video gave you a little bit more sunshine. I will see you in the next video. Bye.